But what does this have to do with me?"
"That's the best bit," Jacqueline cried. "I know the family. Well, I say know. An old friend of mine, Polly Urquhart, married into the family a few months ago, just before they opened. She's offered me a fantastic discount just for me, as long as I can persuade 3 other people to come along."
"Wait a minute," Blake said. "You said you had an offer for me. How much is this going to cost? It doesn't look cheap."
"I told you," Jacqueline said, pulling the leaflet out of his hands and opening it up. "She's offered me a discount. For 4 people this would normally cost somewhere in the region of about £500. But because it's new and they want to attract as many people as possible, they're doing a week for 200.
She held up the inside of the leaflet, waving it around in what she clearly thought was in a tempting manner.
"And with the discount she's given me, in return for 4 of us going, we can get a week there for £100, between 4 of us. £20, Blake, that's all this will set you back. And look at these pictures, don't you think that's worth it?"
£25, Blake corrected, taking the leaflet back and examining the contents. He had to admit, the pictures inside certainly seemed to do the place justice. The interior of the mansion boasted sweeping staircases, sparkling chandeliers, and the lakes looked wide and crystal clear. "A week?" he asked cynically.
"That's right," Jacqueline said, beaming at him. "Come on, Blake. You work so hard. You've hardly stopped since you came to Harmschapel. Most people would be biting my hand off for an opportunity like this."
Blake couldn't deny that life in Harmschapel had been anything but quiet since he had moved to the village. When he had first arrived, he had been thrown straight into one of the most beguiling cases of his policing career. And then, no less than a month ago, he had almost been struck by lightning at the top of the church tower whilst trying, and ultimately failing, to stop a killer from jumping to his death. Despite his reservations, he did feel that he was due a holiday. "And who exactly did you have in mind to make it up to 4?
"Well," Jacqueline said, "I was thinking we could bring a +1 each. I'm sure I can find somebody. And I was thinking you might want to bring that friend of yours, the pretty one."
"What pretty one?"
"You know," Jacqueline said coyly. "That nice boy you get along with so well."
"You mean Harrison?" Blake said, his stomach performing a dull somersault at the mention of the name.
"Harrison, that's the one," Jacqueline said, putting her hands together enthusiastically, though Blake suspected that she had known his name all along. "Think of the life that poor boy has had. If anybody deserves a nice relaxing break away from the village, it's him."
It was certainly true that Harrison had not had the easiest of lives. In the relatively short time that Blake had known him, both of Harrison's parents had been sent to prison for the murder of his abusive ex-boyfriend Daniel. It had also been Harrison's life Blake had been trying to save from the murderer who had jumped from the church roof. As a result, Blake and Harrison had developed a close bond, and it was one that apparently had not gone unnoticed by some of the other villagers, including Jacqueline.
"So," Jacqueline continued, ignoring Blake's attempts to interrupt her, "I'll give my friend a call and tell her to expect us, Monday evening?"
Hang on, Blake said, as Jacqueline started to walk out the door. "Today's Friday."
"No, it is," Jacqueline said, nodding.
"Monday is 3 days away."
So
what if Harrison can't make it?"
Jacqueline gave him a knowing smile. "You'll think of something. Now I must dash. I have a phone call to make."
She squealed excitedly, holding the leaflet up in the air, and skipped out the door. Blake closed the door with his foot and bit his lip in deep thought. Since the events at the top of the church tower, Blake and Harrison had grown closer, and there was a mutual attraction that both men had openly admitted to. But Harrison, quite reasonably in Blake's mind, had asked for some time alone to come to terms with all the events of the past year before getting himself into another relationship. Blake threw himself on the sofa and exhaled. He did rather like the idea of a week away from the village. It certainly beat any vague